Hey, it's Ed with Slow Car Fix, and today I am screwing up my bug. If you haven't seen this before in any of my videos, this is Slow Bug, my 1966 Volkswagen Beetle. It has a 1600cc single port engine, not stock. And it has dual carbs, upgraded transmission, all kinds of good stuff. It's obviously lowered. I get a lot of comments and questions about the paint on this car. And the truth is there isn't really any. And there's an interesting story behind it, and that sort of evolves into how I got the car. I've done a custom interior on it, which I'm quite happy with. I had those seats professionally done. And I picked the material, all that stuff. The headliner's been done. And the upholstery guy said doing a headliner in a Beetle is like wallpapering the inside of a light bulb, which I think is kind of funny, and I'll always remember that. It's been recently sorted out mechanically. It's working really, really well. I've drove it to work, and I've got to drive it to Niagara Falls, which is about 3.5 hours from here for a bug event that's coming up. But let me show you what's going on with the paint or lack thereof. Short story on this car, for my involvement of it, is I guess it was probably 10 or 12 years ago, a friend of mine, Ryan, had this car and it was all green. And I saw it at his place when he just got it, and it was pulled out of some barn or came from some, I don't really even know where it came from. I was told it was a Texas car. I have my doubts it was a Texas car, but it certainly came from the States at some point. It's a relatively solid bug. The pan's good. It's had one patch. I've had to do some work on the frame head at the front recently. Mechanically, I've done everything to it. But so to pick up the story, Ryan had it. I looked at it at his place. He wasn't sure what he was doing. He's had a bunch of Volkswagens. He doesn't hang on to anything very long, at least it seems. He wanted to make it patina looked, and I'm cool with that. It's good when you do it right, and we'll see if I do it right. He poured aircraft stripper on it all over the roof and all down the sides and on the front. I didn't see it then. I saw it when it was all green, and I just didn't have the money at the time to buy it before he did all that. And then he stripped all the paint off and kind of said, what do I do now? Now, this is my understanding from Colin, the guy that I bought it from, that this is what happened. I've never really asked Ryan about it. So Ryan, I think, gave up on it. And Colin came along and bought it. And Colin made it into what it is today for aesthetic appearances. He sort of made lemonade out of lemons. Let me show you what he did. So the car was originally some sort of brown gold color. And when I saw it, it was painted this nice metallic green that you can't, it's, when I say nice, it's a crappy paint job and it's old. And so what Colin did was, because the majority of the damage or whatever was on the top side, Colin stripped all this. This is all bare metal. This is all bare metal, and it's been either scotch braided or lightly sanded. There's, you know, some interesting marks here and there, which is kind of cool. I'm not really sure what happened here, if he welded this in or something, but it's welded in kind of weird, which is interesting. He put this cool roof rack on it, which I need to re-clear the wood. I don't know where he got the roof rack. I think he made it out of pieces or something. And this is all just spray cleared with like clear coat from aerosol stuff, just spray cans. The front he painted flat black with, I don't think with any clear, and you can see like it's hiding some body work, and you know, down in the corner it's a little tough. There's a little hole there, so it's not great. Like, ultimately the car needs to be fully repainted. What he did back here was he blended this in with like spray paint, and it's not the right color. So in the sun, in pictures it looks fantastic, but in the sun, this is a different color than this, and this here is a different color than this. So, and then of course in the front one's black. So it's like 50 shades of green and then it's black. So I know that the spray on clear coat doesn't last forever. It's just aerosol cans. It's not really designed for this. And you know, I trailered this car this past winter. So now I'm seeing some rust coming. So what I need to do, at a minimum, I bought wipe on clear coat. And this is a perfect car for that because it doesn't matter how it turns out. I bought wipe on clear coat to do at least the bare metal parts. And then I thought that if I did the whole car, it would tie it together. So then I thought, well, maybe things escalated. I thought maybe I will sand some of this stuff here, that's spray paint, that doesn't really match the other green. So this is where things kind of got out of control. So I see why Colin did it now. Once I started sanding, paint started coming off in sheets. So end result, this car is going to be faux tinted. I'm not going to fake rust on it. It has enough of its own rust. I'm not going to fake any rust on it. I'm not into that. But I am into a worn looking car. My 57 truck, it has not a straight panel on it. It's worn, paint's worn through, it's clear coated. I clear coated it with a spray on clear coat. And that's like my favorite car, favorite vehicle. So I started sanding on this car last night, and yeah, it's evolved. I started sanding and quickly found the gold that I think is the original color, or maybe it was two-tone beige and gold. It's like a tree root. If you look here, you can see that that's the spray paint on top of the green. This is the green here. And it just kind of evolved. So I sanded some other stuff, and I sanded the top of the fender. I don't mind the metal coming through or the primer coming through because that's kind of the way this is. But what I need to do, what my plan is to make it equally crappy all the way across. I don't really want to add paint to it because I'm just thinking I'll just take more away. That's what I'm gonna do. So I was playing around here, and I can play around on this car because it really doesn't matter, because ultimately it needs to be painted and deserves to be a proper paint job at some point, but not today. So I sanded through here, quickly got to metal, just wet sanding, no power tools, just wet sanding, just this mess that you see here. Some 400, some 600, some Scotch-Brite. And I'm gonna see what it comes out like, and then the ultimate end result is I'm gonna take the roof rack off, and I'm gonna do a wipe on clear coat over the whole car so it's got an even shine. So even if this is a slightly different green than this, and that's black, if it's got little bits of wear here, there, and everywhere, and then it's all one level of shine, I'm hopeful that it will at least tie together and not, it's gonna look crappy because that's what the point of it is. But that it's not going to, it'll look intentional. It won't look like it was, I don't know what. It won't look like it did. It'll just look a little more intentional and more consistent. That's a good word, consistent. Even though it's gonna be different colors. So I'm gonna try not to add any paint to it really. Maybe some black, because I have some. I don't really wanna get into adding anything that I don't have here, because I don't wanna spend any money other than the clear coat that I had to buy. So it does have, I don't have fake rust, it's got rust. So that's rusted. This has got some rust here. It's got some rust here. It's got some rust here. So I don't need to fake any rust. And like I said, I don't really like to fake rust. I don't mind faking wear. I kind of dig how this little bit of surface rust is coming through on the clear and cleared over. It looks cool to me. This isn't gonna be everybody's cup of tea at all. This is not gonna please anyone other than me. But that's the way it goes. So it's my car. I'm gonna do that, and when I croak, my son can figure out what he wants to do with it, or if I ever sell it, then somebody else can do something with it, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So I'm gonna know this is a fake patina car. Everyone's gonna know this is a fake patina car. I'm not trying to fool anyone. However, there's a little bit of artistry in it, and what I'm going to try and do, and I'm not an artist by any means, what I'm going to try and do is pick the spots that make sense to wear through and try and make it so it's not, so it's the most natural looking as possible. Now, none of this is natural because it's bare metal on the top, so it's obvious that it's a shit show, for lack of a better term. So it's obvious that it's not correct, and it's not factory, and it's not an old, like, aged paint job or anything. It hasn't sat out in the sun in Arizona and all that stuff. It's not going to be that way because it's already a mess. So I'm kind of excited to try this. I sanded on the other side. Some spots I really like, some spots I don't like at all. So I'm going to see what I can do with it, and see if I can continue what Colin started and make lemonade out of lemons. And ultimately someday this car will get painted with a nice paint job, because it deserves that. It's a good little car. But today is not that day, and in a week and a bit I have to drive this thing like 3.5, 4 hours each way and drive it around all weekend. So I got to get on it. So I'm going to start on it and see what I can do. There's going to be some time because in between, if I do apply some spray paint, I have to wait a while before I can clear anything. If I clear it with this clear coat, which doesn't recommend going over spray paint, by the way, this wipe on clear coat, if I do it with that, there's a 24-hour window. If I clear it once, I can't clear it again for another 24 hours. So I got to get on it. Yeah, so stick with me and let's see if we can make something out of this mess. So it's coming along. I'm having some fun with it, which is, I guess, the main part. What I'm trying to do is wear it in certain spots that I think might be, that are prone to wear anyways. So the easy spot for me is where there's chips, the paint pretty much comes off anyways. So like the door hinges and stuff, if I look down here at this door hinge, I can just pull the paint right off it. So not a lot of work required in that area. I scraped this, you're gonna cringe, I scraped this with a screwdriver and then sanded it, because I figure that's where my hand sits when my hand's out the window. You can't tell here because there's a little bit of, this is base clear on the green, which is interesting. So I aged a little bit around, you know, where your paws go when you're opening the door. Did that on both sides, more on the driver's side because there's the driver's in it more. I'm still working on stuff back here. Still working on stuff on the deck lid. There's some stuff like this here. See those little bumps? So I don't know what that is, if that's like filler or whatever, but that's a good spot to me to sand because, or to scrape and then sand, because it's already got an issue. And you can see, like, because I'm running really wide tires on this and the car is really low, like it's already rubbed all the way around the edges on this fender, like you can see here. So I can just like pull that, where this is already rubbed off, I can pull that back some. Where this is, where I rub this up against something, I can just maybe emphasize that a little bit. I don't want to get crazy, but like the other side has got crazy because it had more paint work on it. So you can see like it had more layers of spray paint, and that's just like, I haven't added anything to that. So what and see, I wore that just a little bit there, then I wore it a little bit here, but nothing crazy. I have sprayed some spray paint here. This is like barbecue black. I'm gonna do that and then just hit that with like a Scotch-Brite after and just see how that blends in, if it sort of ties things together or not. It's a mess, but it'll come together. You just stick with me, I got an idea. I did a little bit of wear here, clean that up a bit more. I'm still screwing around with this. That's just residue from sanding residue. So then this always had a chunk out of it, so I just sanded it back a little bit. Down here where the rust is all bubbled through, I just sanded that, sanded this. There's actually holes there, so you know, I don't know what I'm doing, but it'll be okay. It's still not going to be half as bad, half as dramatic as my truck. Let me show you my truck. For those of you that haven't been on the channel before, this is my 57 truck, and like you can see, it's down to metal. It's quite the show. Now, I didn't do all of this, but I did some of this because I've replaced the cab corners. You can see where it's a little more red, and I tied that in kind of where the red is in the box. I continued it. Who knows if this box was even the box on this truck? Who knows? But I did the cab corners, so I had to blend that. You know, the other side, there's a couple of spots I had to do. I did some metal work in here because this was all rotten, so I blended that in. You know, it just kind of, it all worked. And this pinstripe was on it. Who knows, like from ages ago. It's almost wore off in a bunch of spots. It's been on there so long. And then I just cleared it with like with an actual spray clear to try and protect it and make it so when I wash it, it doesn't look all spotty. And I'm happy with it. Like I love this thing. This thing's great, and I don't worry about it. I can drive it anywhere. See, like this side, I've done a lot of work on. You know, blending the red into the orange and stuff. And it's not perfect, but that's kind of the point. And then it's got bare metal showing in spots, and it's got dirt in the clear, and it's got runs in the clear, and it's got all kinds of stuff like that. But that's just the way it is. And then you can see that, you know, I can see anyways that there's my weld line where I did the cab corner. So I don't want to get as, like, to me this is kind of over the top. I don't want to get as dramatic as this on the Bug. This tailgate I did, because this tailgate was primer brown, so this tailgate was all, that's all me, because it was primer brown. So I just took it to metal in certain spots where I thought my hands would be, or something would be on the top edge, like right here. I wore that through, and I like the aged look rather than fake rust. So, and this, you know, there's no through rust on this truck anywhere. But yeah, it's not a pristine truck by any means. But you know, you can see it's got surface, and I just cleared over that. And then there's some green that was under here from some point, because like, I don't know if this box was original or what. And then I put this trunk in there for our luggage and stuff, because we road trip this thing. We're actually going to take this thing to the Trifive Nationals this year in Kentucky, so that'll be fun. Watch out for some videos of getting that thing ready. So the goal with this one is to not be as dramatic as that truck, or as over the top. But like this kind of thing, I kind of got to take the car, like I'm going to have this as the most aggressive spot, because it just kind of, that's how it ended up. I think he poured aircraft stripper, and it just kind of like went all down here. And because this panel here, this one panel in particular, was quite a bit different green than the rest of the car, and it drove me insane, because it just looked like it was cheap spray paint. I would rather have it look like this than look like it was just done with cheap spray paint, and look like it was trying to pull off some nice car look, and it really is not that. So anyways, I'm not going to get too carried away, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out. I love this little car. It puts a smile on my face every time I drive it. It's just one of those cars. All right, got a lot done, but it's a lot of nothing. It's just making, I don't know, making the car worse. I took its hat off. Doesn't really fit that well in the front of the 55, but that's the first time I've seen it with the rack off, and it looks kind of funny. Looks like it's not wearing a hat. So I did some stuff here on this side panel. I didn't do much on either door because my imagination is telling me that it'd be neat to have some lettering, but I'm not really sure. I'd have to come up with something. It would have to be good. I'd like to see some sort of like old school lettering that I could fade. That'd be fun. But I don't know. Anyways, I did some little bit more work back here where this was already starting to chip. Scuffed it a little bit where that is, the key thing or opening thing, whatever it is. Yeah, it didn't need a whole lot of help to look bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it outside and I'm going to wash it with dish soap, which takes off any of the waxes and crap that's on it. And then I can get a look outside in the sunlight and see, because with it being dark green and black patches and stuff, you can't really tell anything. So I think I need to wash it with dish soap and water and see what it looks like, and then see where I need to add, if I need to add at all. Yeah, I think that'll be good. This side, like, it's more dramatic than the other side, but I don't know. It might not be that different when I wash it and see. So I'm going to do that. All right, let's have a look here. I know it's a bit windy, so you might get some wind noise. I still have to wipe it down with prep wash stuff after this dries. This soap and stuff is just to get off whatever contaminants and that sort of thing. So I've got this spot here. I've got this spot over here. I've got this big spot right there. That kind of looks a little camouflage-ish. And I've got a couple of spots on the fenders, and then it's just the clear on the, or the bare on the top. It's the dog watching me do this. So I guess what I got to do now is I got to go over it again with fine gray Scotch-Brite, according to the instructions. And I'll do all the, this is where I'll, you know, like you got this little bit of rust here that's happening. So I'll just maybe give that a little once over and try and get that stuff all done. Sort of cleaned up as best I can. And then I've got to go over it all with prep wash that came in the kit. And like a 2-rag process. And then it's wipe everything down. But as far as patina goes, I don't want to use that term, but as far as this aging goes, it's going to be okay. I think once it's all the same universal amount of shiny, it'll all sort of tie together. That's how my truck did anyways, because there's like 15 different colors on it. All right, I'm going to finish cleaning this up, and then I'll bring it back inside and I'll go back to you guys. All right, so she's all cleaned up and dried off. And looking how she's going to look. Now it's time to clean a little more. And then I got to put the clear coat stuff on, which I'm kind of excited to do. See, I just did this, wore this a little bit in there. I like that. Some I like, some I don't like, but it's cool. I like this one spot here where you can see the gold and the brown coming through. It almost looks like rust, but that's actually paint. Same thing here, that's kind of neat. This one here I added a little bit of black, but you can see some metal. This thing is kind of weird. I'm not really sure about that side, but I think it's going to look good. And then the door, like I said, I left the doors mostly blank in case I want to put something on them later. This one's just got the one spot I just followed where there was already a chip. Mostly what I did was there was already some sort of damage, and then I just ran with it. Like here, a little bit on that edge. This guy here, there was already a scrape there. And like I said, not much on the door. So I didn't really do too much other than anywhere that had some sort of marks, I just made it bigger. And now what I've got to do is I got to spend a bunch of time wiping it all down with this pre-wash stuff that came with the kit. I don't really want to say what kit I bought just yet. I'm going to wait and see how it turns out before I tell you what I think. But I think it's going to be okay. So I'll start cleaning it up. The nice thing is when you do the prep wash stuff, I'll be able to see it looking shiny, and I'll kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. Definitely when you're doing this stuff, before you do anything, and I need to do it, you know, when I'm getting closer to doing some work on that, you got to put it outside. You got to put it outside and have a look at it and make sure you're happy with how it's going to look before you go and lock it in. Because I did a bunch of touch-ups and things, fixed a few things that or by fixed I mean made them worse, a few things that I saw when it was outside and I couldn't see in the shop, and the shop is actually pretty well lit, so, but it's a dark car. Anyway, I'm going to get to prep washing, and then I'll let that dry, and then maybe this evening I will put on a coat of clear, and then I can hit it again after 24 hours, because I think it should have 2 coats. All right, I've wiped it twice with what is that stuff called? Wax and grease remover. Left the rags out here so they don't spontaneously combust. And now I'm going to start with the clear, I guess. It says to wipe it in an inconspicuous spot to start, but I think the whole car is inconspicuous, so I think I'll just start. I've got to mix it 8-to-1, and it says to put it into a little tray, like a paint tray. I don't have one, so I've got this tub thing. And then it gives me, this is the applicator. It's just like a foam sponge. It says to blow it off first, so I'm going to blow that off first. And yeah, so it's got a catalyst, and I got to mix that 8-to-1, and then I'm kind of off to the races, I guess. So I'll start on it, and I'll let you guys watch. All right, back to the bug. I had a little break. I was working on the 64 coupe, and man, am I glad that I tried this on the bug before I tried it on the 64 coupe, because I won't use this stuff again. Don't like it. These back fenders came out fantastic, and they look good, but I think probably in the sun I'm gonna see all the streaks. Right here, it's friggin' terrible. Just excuse my language, but it's gross. It's very streaky, and this is the second coat, and it's very streaky. Not sure if you can tell. It's patchy, which is what I was warned about, which is why I tried it on this. It looks good in the camera, but I don't know how to show you that it's here I am. I don't know how to show you that it's as crappy as it is. You can see the streaks there. So that's not good. It runs really easy because it's thin, and it dries really, really fast. So you can see streaks here. And what did I expect? You know, it's a wipe-on product. Did I expect it to be perfect? No, but did I expect it to be better than this? Yeah, probably. The cloth thing that they give you to go with it leaves little fibers in the clear, and it's not cool. See those the streaks? But it's a wipe-on product, so you know it's like brush painting your car. The end result, I'm not real happy with it. I'm not going to name the brand of stuff because I'll get a bunch of people telling me I did it wrong, although I followed all of their instructions to the letter. So I thought if it was a real good product, I would name it and be happy to share. See, I thought these fenders looked good, but then when you look closer, pretty streaky. So what do I do now? So definitely the other side where there was spray paint, it did grab the spray paint. So just dry spots. Like it dries so quick. So I'm not happy with it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet sand the entire car. Wet sand the entire car, and I'm going to spray it with aerosol clear. This car is going to get painted someday anyways. I'm just trying to get by, and I don't have time to screw around with this anymore to try. This is the second coat, and it got worse. To be honest, I should have just left it at the first coat and just called it a day. But I gave it a second coat, but you can see this is horrific this year because it ate the spray paint and just gave it a weird texture mess. So yeah, you can see where it kind of ate it there, but that's okay. Like, I don't care because this is gonna, I don't mind it having little checking and stuff like that. That kind of adds to it. What I don't like is runs, because then it looks, runs and streaks, because then it just looks like crap. So I'm not doing great with these projects lately. All right, I'm going to the German Air bug, whatever, some sort of event that is hosted by a guy that did some work on this car, mechanical work for me. So I'm going to that in a week, less than a week. I gotta straighten this thing out. So I watched a bunch of videos last night on people that have had success with this, and I watched a bunch of videos on people that haven't. And the people that had success with it, even when they were boasting about how wonderful it looked, I could see the same exact issues in their videos. They were just happy with it, and I'm not. So perhaps covering drier, flat patina stuff would be better, but this just isn't really working. So I got a lot of cleanup to do. It was a stupid idea to really try it, but so now I'm gonna have to wet sand the majority of the car and spray on some spray-on clear. I'm not gonna use a gun because I don't have one right now, and I'm just gonna do it with a can. It's a small little car. I'm not going to do the, I don't think I'm going to do the back fenders because they do look okay. I think I'm just going to do the parts that are the worst and clean it up, send it. Yeah, it's a little disappointing, but that's the way it goes. They don't always turn out the way you think. So wipe on clear coats, my opinion, I won't use them again. There's a bunch of different brands. And some of the brands are actually the same brand. Like Vice Grip Garage one is actually Poppy's Patina. It's the same thing. It's just relabeled. Then there's Patina Sauce and Sweet Patina and a bunch of different ones. Creative names, good marketing. Lots of people on YouTube love them. They're probably getting deals, or who knows what the story is. I won't use it again. If you are using it, select the one that you are going to use carefully and read a lot of reviews. Don't just, the internet is just plastered with positive reviews, but then when you look at where they come from, they actually come from the manufacturer's site. So, you'll have a video where someone is talking about how wonderful the product was and how it worked great for their project, and then you look at the fine print on their video description and it says this is a sponsored video. So yeah, anyway, be careful out there with these products, and I think it would probably be a really good clear coat if it was sprayed. It does have a nice shine to it, and it is sprayable, but I'm not going to screw with it anymore. I don't have the time. I thought about just picking up a gun and spraying it, because I need to get a gun anyway for the 55, but yeah, just I don't have time for that. So I gotta get sanding and try and turn this thing around.
On the run from my given disaster, speed away from the holy mind, pride. That's where I never thought it would matter. If I'm gone by now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on driving till it bends, still it feels like I pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head over my back between the jars and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving. In the heat from my hot California, I forgot how you looked like in rain. I swear I never thought it would matter. If I'm gone by now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on driving till it bends, still it feels like I pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head over my back between the jars and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving.
All right, so I've wet sanded the bulk of the car. I've wet sanded it with 1000 grit. This here, because this was reacting with the spray paint, I'm gonna actually have to hit that with something a little more aggressive, but that's okay. This white streaky stuff that you see is just actually the clear coat when I'm sanding. If this was like conventional clear coat and it wasn't all streaky, I'd probably just polish it back, because I've had really good success before wet sanding and polishing, and I like to think I'm fairly handy with it. So what I did was I used my DuraBlock and I used some 1000 wet, and you can see, you know, I didn't get every nook and cranny, obviously. So what I'll do now is, the kit came with gray Scotch-Brites, real fine gray Scotch-Brites. So I'm going to wipe this all down with prep wash with wax and grease remover. And then I will go over the whole thing again with water and a gray Scotch-Brite. And that's where I'll get into all these little areas that I didn't hit. The whole point of me doing the 1000 was I'm just trying to get rid of the brush strokes, if you call it that, or at least flatten them out. And I'm hopeful that the aerosol clear will hide some of that and sort of fill in the lows. It probably won't, but it'll look acceptable. I didn't do the back fenders and the deck lid, because even though they're stripy, they actually look pretty good. So I don't really want to screw with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm gonna have to do some tape work, which was the point of doing the white line clear, because then, you know, things like this where I got clear on the seal, on the rubber seal, you can just get some lacquer thinner and wipe that off. So I didn't really want to tape anything, but because I'm lazy and I was trying to do this quick. And how well has that worked out for me? The right way to do this would be to just do that over there, but I'm not doing that on this car, not right now anyways. So I'm going to go over the whole thing with wax and grease remover, and then I'm going to use my water. This is just water, straight water, no soap. You can use dish soap, but you shouldn't use car wash soap because it's got silicones in it and waxes and stuff. So I'm going to go over it again with the wax and grease remover, the Scotch-Brite pad. Then I'll wipe it all down with wax and grease remover, let it sit for a couple hours, maybe go cut the grass, come back and spray on some aerosol cheapy spray paint clear, which is not my first choice, but one of this is. So I think when I'm taping it, I didn't really sand in here because, you know, this is okay. I don't care about this. So I'll probably tape like from here down to here off. Tape off the back fenders. So that's a whole area. Well, that's glass, but that's a whole area I don't have to do because I don't have much clear. And yeah, just trying to get this done. So, and then I might just tape this spot from here back off as well. Tape the roof. The roof. I scuffed the roof, so I'm gonna have to do the roof. The roof won't, like, it doesn't really. Roof and hood are usually the most important parts of the car because that's what you see the most in driver's door. But I've got this rack that goes on there, so it's probably not gonna matter too much. And if anyone's looking that close at this car, they need to look at another car because, or look at their own car. All right, I'm going to keep working. All right, here we are. If I had known I was doing this, I would have proper masking supplies. Right now we've got newspaper, Canadian Tire flyers. We've even got a recipe here. We can have some carb-wise Creek beef meatball salad. I think that was pretty good. I gotta put some plastic or something around the tires. Other than that, everything's been wiped down. I'm not doing the back part, as I mentioned, so that's kind of masked off. I'm gonna get overspray on the running boards, but that's okay because they're already a mess. I gotta clean them up with lacquer thinner later. This is a real rough job. I used about 2 rolls of tape and a bit of newspaper. I had to go a little more aggressive on some of the sanding. Hopefully it turns out a couple of coats maybe. We'll see, but it'll be Probably as crappy as when I started. But whatever. What was I doing anyways? All right, so I'm putting the car back together. I'm putting the wipers on. That's going to be important for when we're going on our trip this weekend, because it's supposed to rain the whole weekend. If the question of this video is whether or not somebody should use wipe-on clear coat, I can tell you without a doubt that I will never use it again. It may work for some people, didn't work for me. I did everything that they said to do. I prepped it, I washed it, I even wet sanded the car. I did all the things. Now, admittedly, at one spot or a couple spots I went over some spray paint, and you're not supposed to go over spray paint, so that did screw that up. Did my spray clear turn out any better? Not really. I spent a pile of time and a little bit of money trying to avoid using a paint gun. And really, I should have just got a paint gun, and I should have just cleared it the way I cleared my 57 truck, the way I cleared a square body I had before, and I've done a bunch of stuff. Should have bought a paint gun. I should have just did it properly. My opinion, wipe on clear and aerosol clear. It's not properly. I was trying to do cheap and easy because that's the kind of car this is. It's a cheap and easy car. I ended up with not very good results. I ended up with a lot of streaks, dry spots. And then when I wet sanded all that down from the wipe on clear, went over it with the aerosol clear, all it did was just show me all those spots from underneath. So really, like, it needs to be, like, every little bit of clear would need to be taken off this thing and start again. And really at that point, what do you have for substrate? The paint is not really even paint, half it's spray paint. So, you know, this very quickly could turn into quite the project. Not a project I want to take on right now. But let me show you what I got. It's livable. One could argue whether or not it was better than before than now. But my whole goal of this project was to try and tie all the different colors together and make it sort of look uniformly crappy. It's definitely crappy, and it's relatively uniform. All right, in pictures it shows like it's wonderful. No, it's not. Let's see if we can see here. Can you see? You can't tell me, but if you can see brush strokes, it looks like brush strokes. That's from the terry cloth applicator pad that they sent with it. And then, of course, you know, when I sprayed the clear on after, I just was trying to make the best of a bad situation, which is kind of what this whole car's been. And so it just locked in those marks. You know, the same thing, there's the same thing on the roof, but you can't tell as much. Also, I had to spend a bunch of time afterwards cleaning the rubbers because I should have just taped it off like a normal human would in the first place. There's some runs, and then there's this fun mess is where the wipe-on clear, even though it was wet sanded and hit with the wax and grease remover that came with the wipe-on clear, it's still checked when I sprayed stuff on it in that corner. This fender like looks fantastic in the pictures until you get close and you see all the lines from the wipe-on. And then where I sprayed it, so this is clear, you can see me. There's no reflection on this because that's the aerosol clear coat, which I can still see underneath. I can see the wipe-on stuff underneath. Now, I'm handy with a polisher. I could wet sand and polish this, but like, I'm just not going to. It's not that kind of car. You can see there's runs because this stuff, the unfortunate part about this, the wipe-on clear is it goes on very wet and dries immediately. You have 20 to 30 seconds according to the label to make it work. And if you get a run like this and you want to go and follow it up, you can't because your rag will stick to it and you're done. So there's some inconsistencies. There's some tiger stripe in the spray-on clear. I masked all this off. This is the wipe-on clear. It looks okay, but you get up close to it and you can see, you kind of can't see in the video here, but you can see that there's like stripes in it from like, it looks like brush marks. So if you imagine something that's been brushed on. Now the part that I aged and stuff, I kind of dig that. That's all worked. Even this part here, it's kind of worked out. That's, you know, spray on clear. But it's tiger striped a bit. It's dry in spots. It's all of it is not very good. I used one bad product and then I compounded it by trying to dig myself up out of a hole. And anyways, so am I happy with the results? Absolutely not. And would I use that clear coat again? No. Do I still love the car? Yeah, it's a great car. So someday it'll get painted. In the meantime, this bug is going to get a lot of bugs stuck to the front of it. And it is what it is. It's fine. So I'm not going to mention what the product is that I used, but I definitely wouldn't use it again. And call it pilot error, call it my fault. That's fine. Maybe it'll work for you, but I know it's not welcome around here anymore. And I also used it on the dash on my 64 just to try it where the dash was dry. And I wiped it on with a rag, like just a plain cloth, because if you do that instead of the applicator, it goes on a little flatter, because as some people brought up that you don't want something too shiny on your dash. And it still turned out patchy and not very good. So I'm really, really glad that I didn't start this on the 64, because that would have been a fiasco. So anyway, yeah, it is, I gotta say though, it's tied together. It's because what I had before was I had a gloss panel here, no gloss on this, no gloss on this was sort of a different color because it was spray paint, and then I had a gloss door, and then a flat black with like no sheen on the front. So now it does have a uniform look to it, and it does make it look more intentional, which is my was my point. So that's good. I do like these spots that I wore through. They turned out okay, and you know, they're not natural by any means, but they sort of just go with the whole thing. But from like right here, looks like $1 million through the camera. Perfect. In reality, no. So If you're going to use wipe-on clear coat, consider the product selection. If you're going to use aerosol clear coat on a car on the outside, which I've done before, whatever. It's not cost effective because cans are expensive and it doesn't turn out very well. Just go buy a gun from Harbor Freight or Princess Auto here in Canada for 20 bucks and spray it. And that's what happened with me before. I bought a couple of those purple Harbor Freight guns and they're really good. And I sprayed my 57 truck, and then when I was done with it, I threw it out because it was like $9. And I don't have Harbor Freight here in Canada, and I wasn't going past the Princess Auto. So I thought I'd get away with just doing a spray with this thing. These things are actually great. That's a Harbor Freight thing. That helps a lot when you're spraying stuff. But anyway, I'm gonna finish putting the wipers on, and then I'm gonna put it outside, and I'll show you guys what that looks like before I wrap this thing up. And yeah, we'll call this a fail. I've had a couple of them lately, but that's okay. That's the way it goes. There's good things and bad things with old cars, and you win some, you lose some, and you just gotta enjoy the process. Yeah, I think without a doubt it's worse. Wow, some spots are worse, some spots are better. It's a beater bug. It is definitely a beater bug. It'll look good in pictures, but in pictures you won't see this crap. Maybe you can't see it here. But and then this checking, and then these runs from the clear underneath. Yeah, hard to believe that this is wipe on here, but it worked on the back fenders, but the rest of the car, it just was absolute garbage. Well, that's where she's finished anyways. That's good enough for, sometimes your best just has to be good enough. So I'll enjoy it for a while and see how much it drives me insane, and maybe it'll get a paint job, but not today. Other things to work on. I just need to drive it and enjoy it, and yeah. Thanks for watching and sticking with me through the good and the less good, and we'll catch you on the next one.